Chairs No Waiting, episode number 386, Mayberry Books You Need. Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you each week by the fine folks over at Weaver's Department Store.com. Drop by Weaver's and check it out. They've got the brand new 2017 Andy Griffith Show wall calendar available now. Also some great new t-shirts and stuff. All kinds of cool things over at Weaver's Department Store.com. Two Chairs No Waiting is also brought to you by donations from listeners just like you. The executive producer of episode number 386 are Bob and Pat Mundy. Hey, thank you, Bob. Thank you, Pat. And thank you for being here to enjoy just a little bit of time in Mayberry with me. It's always fun each week to spend some time with you, visiting about our favorite show and just having fun, reliving some of the Mayberry experience, I guess. You know, we always have the episodes of the Andy Griffith Show to watch, but it's just, it's always fun to talk about it with your friends. And so I'm thankful that you're here with me. Now, this episode, we're going to be talking about Mayberry books you need. Now, you need them in your library. You need these books. Well, you don't need them. But if you're looking for books about the Andy Griffith Show, I want to give you some ideas of ones that I would recommend that you get. Okay, there's some other books that you could get in the past, but they're hard to get now. But these books are still available, and you'll be able to get them. Now, let me disclaim this. Weaver's Department Store sponsors the show. My wife and I actually run Weaver's Department Store. That's not why I'm doing this. In the last several weeks, and I talked about it some at the meetup we had a couple of weeks ago up in Mount Airy with the folks that were present, it's really come to my attention. There are a lot of Mayberry fans out there, you know, that don't listen to podcasts. They don't know about the Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club. They don't know about things that they can have in their own little hands related to the Andy Griffith Show. One of the examples I had was, several months ago, the Andy Griffith Show trivia game. It was basically going out of stock. You can't get it hardly anywhere now. You can get it at the Mayberry Cafe in Danville, Indiana, by the way. They have them. But you have to go there, I believe, to get one. But those were going off sale. You're not going to be able to buy them anymore. And somebody had posted it on Facebook in one of the Andy Griffith Show groups there on Facebook. And what surprised me was how many comments the photograph, the image of this trivia game received, saying, wow, I wish I knew about this. I'd love to have one of these. At the time, the trivia game had probably been out for, 8 years, something like that. Weaver's had been selling it. It had been advertised in the e-bullet. So it became obvious to me that people just don't know about things. And, I kind of assume they do. And it's kind of like, I guess I assume everybody knows the tag number on the squad car is JL327. That's just not true. It is true that that's the tag number. It's not true that everybody knows it. But in my mind, there's things like that people just know, and they know about it. And so I started thinking, I want to try to help make sure people know about some of the amazing things that are out there related to the Andy Griffith Show that you could have, or that you could really use. So this episode, we're going to talk about some of the books that I have in my library that I've had for years. Okay. So, and these are not really rated in any kind of order, but they are going to be, I guess maybe the order that I think I probably got them in this order. Okay. So the first book we're going to talk about, let's talk about Richard Kelly's book. So Richard Kelly, he wrote a book called The Andy Griffith Show. You may not know what it's about by the title, The Andy Griffith Show. That's a rough one. But Richard's book, when did it come out? It came out years and years ago. Let's see here if I can look here in the cover. I should have already done that. But his book came out a long time back. 1981 is when this book came out. So this was one of the very first books on the Andy Griffith Show. Now, Richard Kelly is a graduate of Duke University, by the way, and he's been a fan of the Andy Griffith Show for years. And he's a professor of English at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. And so he wrote this book about the Andy Griffith Show. Now, this has got all kinds of really neat information in it. Now, this book is kind of a study on the Andy Griffith Show. So it's not written, it's written from that perspective as a scholarly, it's kind of a scholarly study, but it has all kinds of fun facts in here as well. And it even has the script for the sermon for today in here, and as well as a script, unfilmed script that's in the last few chapters, the last chapter 12 actually, that was unfilmed. It's called The Wandering Minstrel. So it's an actual episode of the Andy Griffith Show that was written but never actually filmed. It was written by Harvey Bullock and Ray Allen. So anyway, that's what this book, the Andy Griffith Show book, and you can get it at Weaver's. If you go to weaversdepartmentstore.com, you can get it there. Now, but I'm not trying to sell it to you as much as I'm telling you this is a really neat book. But again, this is kind of written, the Andy Griffith Show book is different. We're going to talk about that later. This is called The Andy Griffith Show by Richard Kelly. Okay, so this is a different book. So this one, when you're looking around, it doesn't say book. It's called The Andy Griffith Show is the name of the book, okay? And it's by Richard Kelly. Again, it's kind of written from it's got interviews in it, and he discusses contribution the series has made to by some of the best writers and updates some of the careers at the time. So this is really a very, very good book for your collection if you don't have one, okay? Okay, so that horse is dead. All right, so the next one that I'm going to tell you about is the Andy Griffith Show book. Okay, that's different than the book I just talked about called The Andy Griffith Show. So we've got The Andy Griffith Show by Richard Kelly, and then you have The Andy Griffith Show book, and that book is by Ken Beck and Jim Clark. Okay, so this book's been around, and this is the 50th anniversary edition of the book, which is the current issue, and it has been updated over the years. Now, Jim, as you know, is the presiding goober of the Andy Griffith Show Reunion Watchers Club. Now, maybe you didn't know that. And if you didn't, and this is the first time you're hearing about some of these things, head over to imayberry.com. That is the website for the Andy Griffith Show Reunion Watchers Club. And there is so much information there related to the Andy Griffith Show. You're just you'd love it if you've never seen it before. And if you have seen it, go back and check it out. There's so much there that I forget how much is there. Of course, I'm bragging. I'm the one that runs that website, so maybe I'm biased. Anyway, this is the Andy Griffith Show book by Beck and Clark. Okay. Now this book is written as if Mayberry were a real place. I mean, it was actually a real place. And it's got stories in here. And all the stories, they're not about Don Knotts and Andy Griffith. They're about Andy Taylor and Barney Fife. And like the content here, it's the history of Mayberry, North Carolina is one of the chapters. Andy Taylor, Barney Fife, these are chapters. Cops and Robbers, Codes and Cases. So they have the cases and codes from the Andy Griffith Show. Opie Taylor, all the different characters are listed as a chapter each, pretty much. And it has, toward the end, you end up with episode summaries, which is nice. And the Mayberry Memories, a town directory they have. So this book was written really with a love of the characters of the Andy Griffith Show as the focus. So you've got these two books, and one is more of a study of the Andy Griffith Show or about it, and the other one is more of a reference guide almost of the Andy Griffith Show. I love both these books. I can't really tell you which one is best. I love Jim and Ken's book myself because it's just a great reference. You can look up all kinds of information in here. It's got all the episodes listed out. It's got some nice pictures in it. It's a great book. It's got some trivia in there that you could go with. Tells you everything about Opie Taylor. That he's a red-haired Opie Taylor is Mayberry's all-American boy. He loves playing baseball, fishing, hunting frogs, and eating ice cream and his Aunt Bee's pies. On the other hand, he's not particularly fond of school, homework, haircuts, and baths. Above all things, though, Opie dearly loves and respects his father. And there's an entire chapter describing all the things about Opie. A great book. So if you don't have it, I would definitely recommend this one. Okay, so this one is really, really good. Richard Kelly's also really good. Different kinds of books. Okay, now there's another book that it's more expensive because this one's hard to find. This one's called The Definitive Andy Griffith Show Reference. Now, this was originally in a hardcover book, but it's no longer available like that. It's only softcover, but it's a pretty expensive book. But it's by Dale Robinson and David Fernandez. Dale and David were great Mayberry fans. They've passed away since they've written the book. Great Mayberry fans. But this book is amazing. It is basically a breakdown of every episode of the Andy Griffith Show, and it breaks it down, giving you all kinds of detail. This book is not really a book for reading. Okay, so you could actually read both of the previous books I talked about, the Andy Griffith Show and the Andy Griffith Show book would be fun to sit and read. This is very much a reference book. It is fun to read, but it's really more fun to read. Like if you want to know something about a particular episode, let's say Ellie for Council, you can get in here and it gives you all kinds of information about things that happened on that particular episode, all the way down to, it's got episode notes saying, number 1, Otis is in jail for hitting his mother-in-law in the mouth with a leg of lamb. He admits to Andy that he was actually aiming at his wife. 2, Barney escorts Hilda May to the picnic. 3, Barney's signature on Ellie's petition is the first of 100 she needs to complete. So it has that kind of information. So this is not necessarily, there are very, very few pictures in this book. There are some, but there's very few. They have some information about the writers and the cast members as well. Very, very good reference book. So if you really love the Andy Griffith Show and want to be able to pick up a book and find some trivia or little pieces of information about a particular episode, this is an amazing book to have. Okay, this is very good. So basically, I'm just telling you the books I really like is what's really going on. But again, that is the Definitive Andy Griffith Show Reference is the name of that book. It's definitely one I really like. I really like that book. But I would buy them in the order I've kind of listed them, or you could switch the two Andy Griffith Show books, or Andy Griffith Show book and Andy Griffith Show, those books, whichever order. Another great one, if you like learning about the backstory and the back information about the Andy Griffith Show, is one by Neil Brower. You guys have hopefully seen the mini podcast we've done with Neil, where he hosts Professor Brower's class and does interviews with cast members and crew members and all that. Well, this one is Mayberry 101, and the subtitle is Behind the Scenes of a TV Classic. A great book. So Neil did an amazing job going through episodes of the Andy Griffith Show and just bringing them to life. It's definitely something you would want to see. It's must reading, I do believe, for a fan of the Andy Griffith Show. Neil's been writing columns for the Bullet, the newsletter, the e-Bullet or the Bullet, for years. And basically it's about 528 pages, I believe is right. 528, somewhere in that line. This one says it's 507, so it's probably different publications of it. But this is a great book. It's very thick book. I don't know if you can see, but it's really thick. It has well, you can't see if you're listening, I guess. But it's a great book. It visits 79 episodes that were written by Jim Fritzell, Everett Greenbaum, and as well as the ones that were written by Harvey and Ray Allen. And there's some from Bill Edelson and Sam Broderick as well. So these great behind-the-scenes information. Mayberry 101, Behind the Scenes of a TV Classic by Neil Brower. Great, amazing book. Okay. All right, so those are the reference books. Those are the kind of books, I guess I kind of split them into category. So those were kind of all reference books. I can't really tell you which one is the best. It depends on what you're wanting. If you want to see some behind-the-scenes stuff, I definitely would recommend Mayberry 101. If you want to have some kind of really referencey book where you could look up all kinds of weird stuff, the Definitive Andy Griffith Show Reference Very good. If you want to just enjoy yourself reading about the characters in Mayberry, Jim Clark's book is great. And Ken Beck's, I should say. Ken Beck and Jim Clark's. And Richard Kelly's. All right. Moving on from there, there's other kind of books. Those are all kind of reference books and trivia books. Not really trivia. There is a trivia book, by the way, but we're trying to keep it. So there is a book, and there's not many of these left. This book here is Goober in a Nutshell. It was written by George Lindsay along with Ken Beck and Jim Clark. They wrote this great book, and it's basically if you love the character of Goober, if you love George Lindsay, this book is it's like a biography. It is a biography of Goober. If you love George Lindsay, it's a great book. The back of the book says, you know him as Mayberry's Goober Pile, the lovable lunkhead auto mechanic with a friendly greeting and a simple smile, bumbling his way in and out of trouble on TV's Andy Griffith Show. Now the man beneath the beanie, actor George Lindsay, tells what life was really like on the set of America's favorite sitcom, with a fascinating, often hilarious behind-the-scenes look at those incomparable Mayberians and the stars who portrayed them. And there's all kinds of great stuff there. You get to learn a lot more about George as well. I love George. I miss him a lot. And this is a very good book. I think I've told you the story the first time I ever met George. I was actually reading this book. It was in my briefcase. I was going through the airport in Nashville, and I walked up to him. He was standing there. He was going on a book tour, actually, going to sign the book up in Washington. I was on my way there from Nashville, and I said, I actually have your book in my briefcase. And he was like, well, you want me to sign it? And I said, no, it's already been signed. Jim Clark had gotten it signed for me. So I was excited. Anyway, during the plane trip, I sat down, I was reading the book, and somebody tapped me on the shoulder about halfway through the flight, and it was him. He says, good book? And I was like, yeah. So he took the book away from me and held it up in the plane and started telling everybody, this here's a good book, everybody. Y'all need to buy one. So anyway, very nice book if you like George. There's not very many of these left. Only, I think Weaver's only has several copies, maybe 10, maybe a little less than that. So great book. So that's a fun book if you would like to know something about George Lindsay. Another neat book that also by Jim Clark and Ken Beck is Aunt Bee's Mayberry Cookbook. And you might guess that it's a cookbook. All kinds of really nice recipes in here, but there's also all kinds of little quotes. There's quotes from the episodes. There's pictures of folks like here's Leon. Ron Howard's little brother, really, but Leon. They say there's not much you can say about Leon. Even Leon says nothing about Leon. Matter of fact, Leon says nothing at all. The generous sandwich eater seems content with peanut butter and jelly. It's a good thing, too, because he probably receives more repeated rejections of no thanks, Leon, than anybody else in Mayberry. Nevertheless, if there's ever trouble, don't let his gentle demeanor fool you. This pistol-packing cowboy is a quick draw on more than a sandwich. Anyway, there's all kinds of little things like that in Aunt Bee's Mayberry Cookbook. So hopefully you guys already knew about all these books, but if you didn't. And then finally, another book that I'm especially fond of, because I also do a Mayberry Bible study podcast that you guys hopefully have heard. It's called, uniquely enough, the Mayberry Bible Study Podcast.com. If you go there, Mayberry Bible Study Podcast.com. It's right there on the front. If you go to twochairsnowaiting.com, if you go there, if you look at the top of the page, you will see the Mayberry Bible Study. It's there as well. So when you go there, you can just click Mayberry Bible Study. Boom. It'll take you right to it, the Mayberry Bible Study Podcast. All right. Anyway, this is what started it. This book right here. Actually, it's not what started that. This book was started from Joey Fan beginning the Mayberry Bible Study. So Joey Fan wrote this book. It's called The Way Back to Mayberry, Lessons from a Simpler Time by Joey Fan. Now, this book is basically all about the Mayberry Bible Study. It's kind of like that. So there's episodes on different, there's chapters on different episodes, and it's kind of discussing them. and kind of drawing out biblical references. I should read, I guess, what it says in the back. This is what Joey says here on the back. It says, everything I know about life I learned from the Andy Griffith Show. So says Joey Fan, the author of The Way Back to Mayberry and founder of barneyfife.com. That's his website, where you can download lesson plans for the Mayberry Bible Study, barneyfife.com. Millions would certainly agree. Almost every episode provides good wisdom or a helpful word. The Way Back to Mayberry draws out subtle parables found in 30 episodes, including Man in a Hurry, and it lists out the rest of the stuff. Anyway, Joey began teaching classes based on the values and ideas depicted in the Andy Griffith Show in 1998. And since that time, his material has received media attention from the Washington Post and Anyway, that's where this book came from. So if you're interested in things like that, Bible study, another great book. So that all said, hopefully one of these books will have piqued your interest and you didn't know about it, maybe. And if you did know about it, tell other people that you know that are big fans about these books, about the websites, about imayberry.com. That'd be great. You can tell them about Two Chairs, obviously, the podcast. I'm not going to complain if you do that. But whatever you tell them about, get out there and just make sure that they know, because they're your friends. They're our friends. And we need to make sure that they know that things like that exist, that there is a imayberry.com, that there is a newsletter called the E-Bullet that comes out every other month from the Rerun Watchers Club, so that they will know that they're not alone out there. It still amazes me that this club has been around since, well, I forgot what year it started now, but it was about 1980, 1979, somewhere in that time frame. I've forgotten now when the Rerun Watchers Club was created, but it's been around that long and people still don't know about it. It kind of hurts that that's the case, that after all this time that people still, don't know about the Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club. No matter how hard it is to say, Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club. There, I got it. They don't know about it. And it has been such a blessing to me over the years to be a part of, and just the fans that I've met that are fans of the Andy Griffith Show, I met through the Rerun Watchers Club. It's just been a real blessing. And I hate to see that people might be missing out on some of this and not getting the smiles and laughter and joy that I have received over the years. So let's spread the word. Get out there and spread it. And, tell me your story. How did you find out about the Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club? How did you find out about the podcast? How can we get the word out to people? We've got to get them out there and evangelize this and get people knowing about it, just to bring a smile to their face. So, folks, I'd love to hear from you. You can give me a call at 888-684-8415. Email me at floyd@imayberry.com, or just drop by twocairsnowaiting.com and leave a message there. However you'd love to get in touch with me, I would love to hear from you. So until next time, get out and tell somebody about the Andy Griffith Show and all the things that are available. And we'll see you here on Two Chairs. Good night, everybody.